you know. And you don't want to do much by way of pen. So we'll do Bala Lake in North Wales. And I've just got this masking tape across here to give a crisp line. And let's see, the Aran Mountains are up here. So if I take that, and you see, I'm keeping it very jagged. And there'll be a mountain in mist in by there. And that will come there. And then what you're going to have, you'll have another range of hills and wooded, it's very wooded by here. And but then you're going to have some like bushes along the other side of the lake. And really that's all I want. You don't want to draw much more than that. And what I've got to think of is now water, you've got to overcome your fear of water with watercolour. It is just like learning to swim, where you have to overcome your fear of water, trust it and go with it. More water you put on, the longer you have. You've got about a minute doing a sky. So now I want some of this to be light, this hillside, and some dark. So I'll alter the colour you'll see when I put on now to get that effect. So I'm putting water up here first of all, just a big enough brush, and it's like a squirrel hair, you know, it's got to be a soft brush. Brushes are quite expensive, but they last you a lifetime because there's no friction, because you've got the water between the brush and the paper, so you've got no friction like with oils or acrylic, so they last. And that's the water on, and you can see where it stayed where I put it. Even at this angle it has stayed more or less where I put it. So now I want a very dramatic sort of sky. We'll get that evening sort of glow. So what I might do is, let's have a look here. Let's get a yellow. So that's cadmium yellow I'm mixing here with a bit of sienna as well. So it's not too like in your face yellow, it's more earthy. And let's just get that on there. See, now what I've done, that now is going to just merge with the water. And of course you're using what's in the sky anyway, you're using water, aren't you? So different oil or acrylic. Now I'm mixing a cadmium red. So let's put that on here, and we'll get that down here as well. So can you see, but I'm not putting it everywhere, I'm letting the yellow come through. And what I'm going to do now is get blue, and it'll mix actually on the paper if I get ultramarine blue there. But you can see what I'm doing, I'm mixing a whole pool of water, and watch what will happen now. And it dries a lot lighter, okay? Dry a lot lighter than this. You're amazed how light it will dry actually. So you've got to allow for that. How much it's going to dry. Like with acrylic, what you put on is what you got, same with oil, but not with watercolour. It'll dry. But you can see how lovely a technique this is. See? So now what I can do here, I want to get the light of this hill up here. So let's darken it a little bit so it'll stand out against that. So I've got a little bit of time left because I put so much water on before it parts start to dry and you get hard edges, and so now I could leave it like that, but what I think I might do, let's work on something a bit more dramatic. So now I'm using less water, okay? I'm going to use a light red here now. Light red with the blue, but on the blue side. Now you watch now. It's staying more or less where I'm putting it, but it's giving a depth to the sky. Can you see that? So I'm not doing it everywhere. I'm just looking for a pattern. And I think that might do it actually, we don't want much more than that. Now what we can do now, because Gwyneth said to me when I first started, you'll never paint in watercolour, you haven't got the patience of watercolour. And here's the answer. That's the answer. So it's not patience, it's more speed. You've got to put water on, work in an area, because if one part starts to dry, it'll create hard edges or perhaps stains. So what I'm going to do now, now watercolour brushes are so expensive. A sable in something like that could be a couple of £100.
Oh.
So, but what they tend to do now, they'll mix them with a bit of nylon, so it's cheaper. So you get a synthetic brush with nylon, plus a little bit of sable in it. Now, the alternative, and they're a lot cheaper, Chinese brush. Fantastic. You watch another, it'll go to a fine point. It'll hold no end of water. So if I put, now I want, let me show you. If I put some sienna in there, raw sienna. Now if I mix a blue, so it's ultramarine, a little bit of cadmium red, not much. And if I put that there like that, and I could leave gaps where you got the light catching the hill, see? Now can you see what's happening? It's blending in there, and look how subtle that looks. Okay? And that's about your watercolour. Don't worry about that, we can get over that. So now I'll dry that again. But you can see how, what you're doing, you're taking the water and it becomes a friend, you know, where you use it. Now we're going to get this lovely hill in here, and I want all sort of different blends of colours. You've got yellow grasses, there's red bracken, you've got green fields. So I'm going to put it roughly where I want everything. So I said about this hillside, and now because that's darker, see that will light up, like the light is catching it, you know. And what I can do is mix, I'll put a bit of light red in here. Now, I know that's going to dry too light, you know, far too light. It'll be very insipid. And that's the trouble with watercolours. People don't allow for it drying. So we need to go a bit stronger, which means more paint. So let's try some more paint. That's better. Now that's registering better now. See the difference that's made? And then we'll do the same then with the brown. Now, as you come further down, you've got fields here. So I'm using cadmium yellow, a little bit of what's called intense blue, gives a nice green. So I've got all these different colours going on, and the water will blend it all. And what I could do now is, let's get a rigger brush. Should be here. This is one you've got me. It's lovely actually, really lovely brush. So I'm mixing cadmium red with ultramarine blue, and I'm going to just work on areas. And because it's still wet, you still got that soft effect, you know? So I can drag it down a bit. Let's put it with this red to make it more. See what's happening is turning to a mauve now, because the red that's on there. But can you see the effect of that? Now, what I can do at this point, I could dry it, but I think it might be quite effective doing it with it's wet, because it'll make it look more misty, right? So these are now bushes at the edge of the lake. So it's only ultramarine blue with a little bit of, well, whatever red is there, cadmium or light red. And what I can do is drop a stronger colour of light red in and just let it, so you've got a bit of you know, mixture going on. It's not just all the one colour, right? Now if I keep to the blue, and you're going to have just a suggestion of fields. Okay? So, if you notice, I'm actually touching the paper. It's a very soft touch because the paper is quite delicate and you don't want to labour it. But can you see the effect of that already? Now, what I can do, you've got like fir trees that comes up on the side here, and so we could put them in. Only the suggestion. Again, you can see I'm just hovering over the paper, hardly touching it. Different to acrylic where you really got to lay into it. This you hardly touch with watercolour. And we'll come into that as well to break that from there. Could even put a few coming up here. Trees coming up there. But it's only a bit of nonsense really, where now, if you want to push something away, just use your hand and smudge it, it goes softer, okay? You could either do that or you could. Let's get this up here. So no, what I'm doing, I'm scumbling now when I'm putting the brush on its side. So it's got a hit and miss effect, you know? Now you see, I've lost it a bit by there, but what I can do, now you can't, with watercolour, you can't put light on top of dark, all right? Because it's quite translucent, the paint. But this is opaque, it's called gouache. It's absolutely indispensable. So if I mix a light, so there's a lot of white, with only a hint of this colour in, and you watch now, it will go lighter. See what's happening? So if I made a mistake, watercolour is known as being an unforgiving medium. You don't make mistakes, but you can. As long as a bit of gouache, tinted with a colour, and you can always recover a painting, right? We'll just put that on and come back to that again. Right. Okay? Now what we'll do, because this is our time to go off anyway, I want to get like Woodland in here now. And so that means, this is an old brush again. So, no, let's keep to the Chinese and show you. So now, I want to do this ever so quickly, right? So I've got a very light yellow, right? Now I'm adding blue to make it darker, right? And then I'm going to mix a red, a little bit of blue with it. So it's all going to mix together and you'll get this lovely effect of woodland, you know, and come back in and work at it. Okay. Now, I could let that just go off a little bit and then, let's have a look. If it's too wet and you're working on it, it'll spread too far. I want some darker edges here, you see? And it should merge and I don't want to do it everywhere because I want this to still register in front of that there. So let's get a little bit. You're all very quiet.
We were trying to concentrate.
Yes.
We were trying to concentrate. Thinking I won't be able to do that.
But can you see now, because it's wet, you just drop all these colours in.
No,
You've got blues, you've got reds,
no,
greens, a bit of everything there. And let's just dry that. There's a bit there, it's gone a bit like that. Let's just see that. And I'll show you how to get some detail in here now. Now if I get this rigger I have, that's it now. Now if I make some blue, and I'm going to work what's called negatively, where I want the light to be catching that green there. So what I'm going to do is this, look. I'm just going to go. And what I'll need then, some clean water, well, whatever's in there. I was out painting in Wiltshire last autumn, and I had everything with me but water. But there was a puddle, and I didn't know what up in the puddle. Can you see what's happening there? Needs to be, you know, a bit more. And this is a lovely technique where it just gives a sense of depth to the. Now I could do something similar here. If I just, and then wash off. So it's going to nothing, see? But you've got the effect of like something happening here, you know? So let's just try a little bit by hand. I'm looking for the light areas, can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And then I'm working on darker areas. And we'll just do one more just to show you. Let's get this dark in here. And then wash it off straight away with some clean water. We don't mess around. Once you do it, you leave it. Okay? Now, could do it a little bit in here, I think. Just to break at it. But not much. Right. Now, when we've done that, let me just show you this technique. Now, the gouache, and just watch what happens here. So I've got a bit of yellow onto that green, but I only want a little hint of it with this white, just a hint of it, because it does dry darker, okay? And you see, it's like the light is catching there now. And you can do that all over really with different colours, with reds, you can, and do a little bit in here. Now that's going to dry a lot darker. Gouache does that. So you've always got to allow for that. And I think that'll be about it really. Quite dried up, but never mind. Here's the effect we're looking for, okay? I might put a bit of dark in there actually. Oh. That's better. Put some of that down here as well. Now, what's happening, let me explain to you. The light is travelling through that wash of colour. It's hitting the white of the paper and it's coming back out again. That's what the light is doing. So it looks translucent, okay? But now, because I've used thicker paint here, it's more opaque. The light is struggling to get in and out, okay? And so that's opaque, that's translucent. Now, because I've gone over a few times and quite dark here, the light is really struggling to get in and out of there. So it goes to what we call mud, okay? Which is great, you know, where you want it. But if you get mud everywhere in your painting, no matter what colour you put on, it's still going to be mud, okay? And that's where you need the gouache. But let's take this off now and see where we are. You see? See how effective that is now, isn't it? And what we'll do before we come to the foreground, let's, I'm going to use a bigger brush, it'll be better than the Chinese brush. I'm going to put a wash of very light wash of, no, let's start first. Let's start with the yellow. We're going to work the sky in reverse, all right? So there's yellow in the sky, isn't it? So we're going to put that in the water. And then we'll get some cadmium red, but you can see it's very fluid, it's very light, okay? Very light stroke. And you don't pat it, you know, like with acrylic or oil. You need to just have sweeps, gentle sweeps. So we'll get the blue. Put that on as well. I'll take that here as well. I could have done a reflection, you see, but really, just for today's demo, I think this will be enough, really. It's, yeah, okay, what I will do a reflection, so we'll dry this first, right? Now, when you use the air dryer, you've got to give it a little while because it'll be warm, see? Just let it cool a bit. Now then, let's have a bit of fun here then. Well, I'll use the squirrel brush.
Squirrel brush, I think.
Sorry, squirrel brush, sorry. Normally, a mop brush it's made of squirrel hair. This is,
right.
It's soft, see?
It's soft.
And where, this is like goat hair, a lot of these are goat hair. And with acrylic and oil, with the bristles, it's a hog brush, it's from a pig. So it's tougher. See? So I've just put that in as a reflection, see? But I've left the gap where the light will be catching the end. So now let's get this in. Now again, we've got to put all these different colours in. So let's start with the yellow first. And darker green. And let's come back to the reddish colour. And it hasn't got to be exact, you know, because you don't want it a mirror copy. You want just a suggestion of a reflection. Now it needs a bit more blues in, doesn't it? A bit of blue there. So we've got all these different colours again. But look how quick that is, and the water really is doing the work. Now, if I can let that just dry off a little bit, without going near that. Let's try this. Let's try this one, I think. Now this is a synthetic brush I've got here. Problem when you do this, because it's that bit firmer, it can take off what's underneath. You know, where you use more of like a squirrel brush, or it's soft and it won't take off what's underneath, you know. So like sometimes you want to get a darker sky in, or the sky needs altering. If you use a squirrel brush and put all water over it, it won't disturb what's underneath. Where a synthetic brush will. So, okay, let's get. You want a steady hand here. I just want to break, like there's movement in the water. So I'm just breaking this a little. We'll do it like that. I think that's enough actually, for now. Okay, now then what I'm going to do is that might have a time to go off. This will, if it's too wet it won't work, and if it's too dry it won't work. It's got to be just right. So squeeze everything out of that so it's flat. And then let's just see. Okay? So you've got like the movement of water now across the reflection. And you want to alter it. You don't want the same everywhere. You want to alter these lines. Put one there. And we'll put one here probably. Okay? And that's it. Now then, let's come to the foreground. And this is Bala, like we used to take the old camp out to take meetings in the Christian Centre there, so take a series of week meetings.
Bala Lake, isn't it?
Yeah, called the autumn breaks. With the old camper van, and we'd reverse it right to the shoreline, open the doors, and that was your view. Brilliant. So, come on, let's... So you've got a choice when you mix greens. You can use cadmium yellow, that's lemon yellow, that's sienna, and you'll just get different colour greens. Let's give you an example. And then depending what blue you use, you can use ultramarine, there's intense blue. So I put a bit of intense blue there, look at that. See, that's quite a bright green, quite a...
What is it called, intense blue?
Intense blue. So you've got to be careful, but I think that will do all right. Let's just get a foreground in here. So all I want again here is different colours, right? So let's get this darker green in. It's going to be darker again, actually.
It's amazing how many different colours of green there are.
Oh, depending what...
Green,
yeah, oh yes, and depending what blues you use, or depending what... I want a bit of a red in here too, because it's more evening, see, so it's not going to be too bright a green here. You want it. Right, okay. Now then, let's have a look. This needs to go off a little bit now before I would get detail in. But you know, we used the fan brush before, you could use it, but look at the rig, is just doing the same job really. So what I'm doing then, I've got, pardon me, tufts of grass here. So it's not detailed really, it just looks a bit more detailed. I'll leave that for now. When that starts to go off, we'll get some darks in here. But let's look at we need a bush here, don't we? Or a tree or something. So, some leaving gaps. So the light is coming that way, so let's keep the darks to this side. Now this is going to dry a lot later because it's very wet. And don't worry about that. Now people will panic with that. I'll show you how we'll get around all that now. Don't worry about that at all. But let's use a hairdryer a bit, I think, too. So, you know, I could use this on its heel. Do you see what's happening? By flicking that up. I'm using it, well, on its side basically. But you've got texture there. You compare there to there. I don't want to do it everywhere. Just here and there. So I want to come in with some lights in here. So that might just be great there for now. I will get it in here as well. So I'm leaving areas that are lighter that I want to accentuate. Let's have a look here. So I'm looking for the detail just on the tips with this little rigger. Fantastic, but I don't know what make they are. Amazing, aren't they?
Michael John Smith is
lovely brushes.
he has
And even with acrylic, along with watercolour. You see now, this is just probably time enough to be able to do what I'm going to do now. Okay. Again, this is very light touch. We notice I'm hardly touching the paper. Got some darker pieces in here, not much, just a little bit. There we go. I think we'll go with the gouache now. Should be here somewhere. It is. Now then. Now if I was to tint it a little bit of yellow or green, but as I said before, you've got to realise it will dry a lot darker. Can you see what's happening? Mm-hmm. I'm giving the sense of texture here now. But it's got to be dark for it to register, it won't work. It's got to be a dark background. So the purists watercolours wouldn't use gouache at all. What they would do, they'd use masking fluid, and it's like a rubber when it dries. And they would put all this where they want the lights to be, and then when the painting's finished, they would rub it off, and it would reveal all the lights, you see. But I haven't the patience of that. So.
Well, if it works, isn't it?
Well, you know, and it. What suits you, you know what I mean? There's only one rule with painting, and there are no rules really.
There are no rules.
Whatever works. See, let's get some lights in there as well, I think. And then we'll get some light in here too, I think, for the bushes.
It's a gift, I think.
Now, the one thing it's missing now is a boat.
Oh, a boat.
So let's put a boat in.
Everybody was the same. It would be for the artists.
Well, let's have a look here now. We'll put it here, I think. The boats are as simple as that, really. It's only, no, I'm going to put, yeah, we're not. We'll have that, a bit of a reflection in here. Now, I'm not going to chance this and getting it fine. Somebody said to me, I was working the other day, and I was Troy Costa thing, he said, I haven't seen somebody use a fountain pen for years. And I said I'm a bit of a dinosaur, you know. Oh, he couldn't pass me the folder there, Dave. And oh, sorry. And there's yeah, so you've got to know when to finish, and that's more or less it, really, in terms of finishing. Let's put a mount on it and see where we are. Now it should be a bit higher, shouldn't it? So it should be down here. One sec. So let's just lift him up a bit, and we'll just tape him. Just up here a little bit to
manage?
Yeah, we'll go right about up there, I think, is it? Let's see how we are, just for now. Let's have a look. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Okay, well, it should be up a little bit so you get more of the sky.
Yeah.
But there we are, that's Bala Lake. You know?
Wow.
Well done.
So, yeah, so, well, job done. Okay. There we go.
God. Brilliant.
So, but you can see with watercolour, it's taking it in stages, not be too ambitious. You know, and I'm not working very big, but this is now a 16 by 12 inch mount. And this is standard size in like frames in IKEA for about £6.
Right.
Or the range, you know. So